of education this year on grant consulting. We keep getting a lot of requests for folks that have been in the grant writing world or the grant writing field for a number of years who are ready to take their skill set to the next level and start helping out others with their grant writing needs. So one of the questions that we have been asked is, what do I need to know to be successful at grant writing? Whether you're a consultant or whether you are working in a small shop, whether you're working in a large development department, or whether you're a freelancer, there is some basic skills that folks need to have in order to be really successful and productive and enjoy their work. One of those things is you need to be able to follow instructions. That doesn't seem like a complicated thing to do, but in order to be really good at grant writing, you have to be able to deconstruct the grant guidelines that are given to you and follow them to a T. Whether that's being a little OCD in things like everything has a 1-inch margin, everything is Times New Roman 12 with 1-inch spaces between lines, and all the individual details that someone gives you in the formatting. And then there's things like when you turn it in, to make sure you have a certain number of copies if it's a hard copy, to make sure it's in by a certain deadline, to make sure that your attachments are in PDFs, not JPEGs, to make sure that you're using Word as your processor, to make sure that you've logged in using Google Chrome instead of Microsoft Explorer. So making sure that you are following all of the guidelines will not only make your proposals better in the eyes of the foundation that's receiving them, but it will make your job a lot easier as the writer, because you won't be having to problem solve stuff all the time. You won't be having to wonder, did I do it right? So that's one of the very first things that you're going to need to be able to do, is simply follow instructions. A lot of folks don't even want to read through the guidelines. Marie and I are working on a federal grant right now, and the guidelines are almost 40 pages. That's just the instructions for how to put it together. So you really have to be able to read through what a foundation has said that they want and follow those things. You have to have pretty decent writing skills. There are some tools out there to help you, and even if you're an outstanding writer, I would recommend that you have these things in your toolkit. Like, we use a tool called Grammarly that will go back and check and make sure that all the pieces of our writing are put together correctly, that we haven't used, accept instead of accept, or that we're using the correct spelling, that we're using the correct punctuation. So tools like that are really helpful, but you kind of have to be pretty good at it to begin with, or you're going to spend a whole lot of time going back and making corrections. So making sure that you have some tools, that you're using your spell checks, that you're using your Grammarlys, that you're using your tools to make sure that your writing is really good will be helpful. You really have to be able to think through the concepts of program and project design, and be able to either work with someone who loves that, or yourself be able to walk clients through that. Or if you're working for an organization, make sure that you can talk with your organization about, what is the project design? Have we thought through this fully? What are our goals and objectives? How are we going to evaluate the success of this program? And being able to put those pieces together in a way that allow you to use them in grant templates, that allow you to share with foundations what you're wanting to do and accomplish, and how their dollars are going to help you do that, are really vital skills. Now, Marie and I, we work together a lot on grant applications. She loves project and program design. That's her baby. I can do it, but I don't love it. So she and I play really nicely together, and whenever we're writing grants for folks, or putting templates together, or creating large state and federal grant proposals, I work on the pieces that I know I really love and I'm great at, and I let her work on the ones that she loves and that she's really great at. So a couple of other pieces are budgeting. You may not have to create the budget for the organization, but you definitely have to think through all the components of a budget and be able to express those appropriately in a budget format, to be able to do all the math that goes with it, and to think out for multiple years if you're writing a multi-year grant proposal. So, there is an aspect of budgeting that you will need to understand. Being able to work and create collaborations and partnerships, to be able to create the memorandums of understanding or agreement and partnership agreement letters with organizations, is a huge part of grant writing, because most foundations these days want to see that you're working with other organizations. They don't want to fund the Lone Ranger. They want to make sure that there is a collaborative effort so you can pool resources and really impact a greater number of people in your community. So are you comfortable creating partnerships, writing those understandings, having people around the table and making sure that their must-haves and their must-haves are all in the same document. So that's another piece of grant writing that most people aren't familiar with. The other thing that becomes really important is synopsizing and being concise. So taking a large amount of information that someone gives you, either on the history of their organization or all the things they want to do in their program, and being able to condense it into the number or word count that are given to you in a grant proposal guideline, say 2,000 words to express your narrative or your executive summary, and 5,000 words for your program design or whatever. Can you do that and still be able to share the information about the program or project that is vital, that still draws people in and wants them to, or makes them want to read more? Do you have that skill set? Meeting timelines. Are you able to put timelines in place for yourself so that you're going to get your partnership agreement letters in time, that you're going to meet the deadlines for all the different things you need, get quotes in hand, complete the grant online, submit it in a timely manner? Do you have that self-discipline to be able to put those timelines into effect and stick to them? Some people are self-motivated, some people have to be externally motivated. It is very, very helpful as a professional grant writer or in a development department to be self-motivated, so you don't have to have someone reminding you of those things all the time. What I see most often with folks that have great intentions is that that's the piece that's missing, is that something else will take precedent and it won't get done, or a timeline will get pushed out and then the deadline gets missed. So there's a couple of pieces to think about as you move forward with your grant writing. We look forward to feedback, and we have some more great videos coming up. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you soon.